Hello all and welcome to the GMAT Advanced Target 700 series. This is the 23rd installment of the verbal series, which in all consists of 50 installments. Today we are going to see some more assumption questions before we wind up our assumption section and move on to the next section of critical reasoning. So let's quickly look through the questions. This one says that an urban planner, he says the mayor of Dismaston supports a new tax code that would assess local businesses on the property value of their site rather than on their income or profits. Okay, so we know there is a new tax code which assesses local businesses now on the property value of their site rather than on their income or profits, which means earlier they were evaluating them on income or profits. The mayor argues that this change will not contribute to any loss in tax revenue for the city. Several city council members disagree, citing similar changes to tax code that were unsuccessful in cities similar to Dismaston. The council members' argument is without merit, though, because property values rise steadily each year while business incomes fluctuate wildly with the national economy. All right. Let's look at the question before we evaluate the passage again. It says which of the following is an assumption on which the argument depends. Okay. Now you have to be very, very careful here. Okay, that what is the argument that we are talking about? We have two arguments. All right. The first argument says that you have a new tax code, right? And the council members' argument says that you will start losing out on revenue. Okay. So what is the argument that you are going to evaluate here? Now, before we answer that question, let us look at the options. Probably that will make it easier for us. Option A says that the new tax code would not apply to the significant number of online businesses associated with the city that have no physical presence on a piece of property in the city. Now, this has got nothing to do with our assumption because see, we do not know what is the proportion of the online businesses that are being talked about. You know, what the new mayor is saying that you have a new tax code that would assess local businesses on the property value and not on the income or profits. Okay, so we don't have enough information to take on at this point in time the whole category of online businesses. Now option B says in previous years the success and failures of many previous Dismaston tax codes to generate income have been mirrored by similar tax codes in the same cities similar to Dismaston in other respects. See, now this is an option that sounds very plausible, but the reality is that we cannot in such questions go by history. Okay, so even if the previous codes have not generated income, we cannot simply extrapolate that this one also is going to face the same consequences. Okay, so in any such option, be very, very careful or be on guard when you are trying to extrapolate previous information to this year's information. Until, of course, we can guarantee that every condition that existed when the previous codes were implemented and all of those conditions will now again be mirrored in when the new tax code is implemented, we cannot really draw an analogy. Okay, so it's very, very difficult to draw an analogy like that. Hence, this option also goes out. Now, option C says a small number of storefronts in the downward neighborhood are vacant. Under the new code, these businesses are likely to owe higher taxes than they have paid, unless some loophole is written into the law. Okay. Now, again, downtown neighborhoods being vacant is part of the story. Now, we do not know that the new tax code, when it is applied, whether it will also apply to just empty storefronts, because we are being told that it would assess businesses. Okay, so make no mistake, you can have empty real estate which is not occupied by anything, but that won't be classified into a business. You will first have to classify that empty storefront as a business, which means there has to be a business that is operating from there, and then tax it based on the footprint of the real estate there. Okay, you cannot simply go ahead and tax an empty storefront. So this option also goes up. Let's look at the next option. It says the annual percentage rise in real estate values in Dismaston has been consistently more than the average annual growth rate percentage across all businesses with properties in Dismaston. Okay. Now this is a very, very plausible option. Okay. It talks about a very, very relevant point that if real estate values have been increasing consistently as compared to the average annual growth rate percentage across all businesses, that means that if you are going to tax real estate values, you are going to be much better off. So if let us say there is an economy where the economy has been degrowing, but what is happening is that you have a lot of these real estate that have been climbing in value. So what will happen? The mayor's code will tax them more, and that will give more tax revenues to the city. Let's also evaluate the next option. Option E says in any year, some unsuccessful businesses will close and other businesses, some quite promising, will open. But the total amount of property in the city is fixed and unchanging, providing greater stability. See, stability is not really in the question here. We are not talking about the stability of tax rates. We are talking about whether the new tax rate will it lead to an increase in the money that is coming in. Because now let's come back to the primary argument. What is the argument? Mayor's argument says that this change will not contribute to a loss in tax revenue. What is the mayor's argument? Mayor's argument says that new change will not decline city revenue. And what is the new change? Property values. What was the earlier one? The earlier one was on profits. This is one argument. What is the second argument? The council members, they are arguing that similar changes to tax code were unsuccessful in cities similar to Dismaston. Okay. Now, if you look at these arguments, the primary argument here is the mayor's argument. And that is the argument that we are concerned about. And what is the argument? He says that yes, we will switch from business profits to the real estate footprint, and it will not lead to a decrease in the tax revenues. Now, stability, which is there in option E, is nowhere in the picture. If let us say I have low tax rates, and those are stable, option E is in business. But the reality is we want to talk about high revenue through tax rate. Even if it is fluctuating, but if it is higher than what the stable one is coming in, then the mayor's argument holds. Hence, option E also goes out, and we are left with option D. Because it clearly shows us that the real estate rates have been rising faster than your regular business profits. So if you switch from business profits to real estate, the rate of growth of tax revenue will be higher. And hence the tax revenue coming year on year to the city will definitely be higher. Okay. Those of you who were able to not follow this question, please go back, rewind the video a little, or people who have been able to, go through this very quickly, you can pace it up and go through them according to your own pace. Let's look at the next question. It says the median age in developed countries is around 42 years, meaning that half the population is below and half the population is above 42 years. So what it has done is that it has easily defined the median age for people who did not know what median means. Okay, it means how the population is above you and half is below you. That is what median is, right? Mean, median, mode. There are three primary, three primary measures in any exercise in statistics. Reports provided by psychologists indicate that 63% of those who seek psychological help in developed countries are below 42 years old. Such evidence clearly indicates that in developed countries, psychological problems are more common among people who are younger than 42 years. Okay, so you have a lot of people. 42 years is the median age. Half the people are above 42, half the people are below 42. Okay, 50%, 50%. Now you have picked up the sample of people who go for counseling. Okay, what it says is that 63% people are less than 42 years. They belong to this category of people. Okay, so it sounds very, very plausible that younger people, they want to go for the help more. Now, the question says that the argument assumes that, okay, so we'll have to look for something which is very subtle, because it's a very decent claim that the passage is making, that 63% people who are seeking psychological are basically lesser than 42 years. Given that half of the people are above 42, half are above 52, the ideal percentage should have been 50. Okay. Okay, you have half the population above 50, half the population above 42, half the population below 42. If, let us say, there was a sample of people who went for psychological help, it should also be split evenly between these two groups, but it is not. Okay, more people there are from less than 42 age group. Let's look at the options. Option A says the percentage of the population with psychological problems is not significantly higher for developed countries than for other states. Now, totally irrelevant. Okay, we are not talking about developed countries versus other states. We are only talking about this particular country. Okay, so sorry, we are talking about this group of countries. The median age in developed countries is around 42 years. So we are not comparing developed versus undeveloped. We are only looking at developed countries as a group. Okay, let's look at the next option. It says, among those with psychological problems in developed countries, the percentage who seek psychological help is not significantly lower for those older than 42 than it is for those younger than 42. This is one important point. Look at it very carefully. Now there is another layer. Okay, so you have people who are above 42, below 42. You know for sure that people who have gone for counseling, they are 63%. 63% of them are less than 42, the ones that have gone for counseling. Now this makes it very plausible that younger people will have more problems. But what if there are people in this bracket who are above 42 years who have these problems, okay, who have psychological problems, but don't go to psychologists? See, having a problem is one thing, and then going to the psychologists is a altogether different thing. And what is the passage saying? The passage is only talking about people who are seeking help. Okay, it's not talking about people who need help. All right. So until and unless that those with psychological problems in developed countries, the percentage who are seeking psychological help is not significantly lower, this assumption doesn't hold. Because for all you know, 80% of the population above 42 years might be having reason, the need for psychological help, but is simply not going there for some reason whatsoever. Okay, so this is absolutely a very strong answer, option choice. Let's look at the other options. Option C says one of the primary factors contributing to the development of psychological disorders is inability to cope with excessive stress resulting from professional activity. We are not concerned with the reasons that are causing these stresses, so this option is out. Option D says the severity of psychological disorders in developed countries among those who have not yet turned 42 is generally lower than it is among who are 42 or older. Again, we are not concerned about severity. Okay, just like we are not concerned about other countries, we are not concerned about the reason for psychological problems. We are not concerned about the severity. Okay, it's very easy to knock off these options. Option E says a significant proportion of those 42 or older in developed countries are retired and no longer subject to the stress associated with occupational or educational or occupational activities. See, this is again talking about one, the reasons. Okay. And second, this is not an assumption on which the argument depends. This can be an assumption for sure. You can assume this, but this is not going to help your argument, because the argument is that these problems are more common among people who are younger than 42 years. Okay. What are the reasons for this? The reasons can be assumed, but they do not hit the argument on the head. Hence, this option also goes out. Option B becomes your answer. Okay. So with that, we have almost wrapped up the assumptions section. In the next videos, we will look at the other sections, namely logical completion, inference, as well as some questions on boldface and some other types of questions that are expected in the critical reasoning. Okay, so you must visit the other installments of this series for accessing those videos. Till then, keep preparing.